Hey, welcome. Welcome, thousands of people that are watching me live. I appreciate you joining me today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between. It's Wednesday, September 27th, and that means it's a Big Idea Wednesday. Today, I want to embark on a journey into the realm of what is a psychological operation, or as I like to call it, the subtle art of mind manipulation. Now, before we dive deep into the objectives, let's first understand who conducts these psychological maneuvers, and why. You see, psychological operations are not the work of rogue wizards or clandestine organizations with sinister laughter. No, they are in fact carried out by governments, intelligence agencies, and various organizations, each with their own unique motives. Governments employ psychological operations as part of their military strategies, aiming to influence the enemy's perception, mislead adversaries, or even enhance the morale of their own troops. It's like a strategic game of chess where the goal is not just to capture pieces, but to also control the minds of your opponents. Intelligence agencies, on the other hand, utilize Psy-Ops to gather intelligence, disrupt enemies, and safeguard national interests. And then there are these organizations with their own agendas, whether political, corporate, or even personal. They use psychological operations to sway public opinion, manipulate consumer behavior, or advance their ideologies. It's a never-ending battle of ideas in the marketplace of minds. Now, armed with this understanding, let's dissect the 6 objectives of psychological operations, these intricate strategies designed to shape thoughts, emotions, and actions in a world where perception is power. Okay? So, first, we have disinformation. Think of it as the illusionist's sleight of hand in a world of information warfare. It's the art of manipulating facts and narratives to control the narrative and confuse the opposition. Right. Then we dive into propaganda. It's a strategic storytelling that seeks to persuade, like a bard spinning a tale of heroes and villains. Propaganda paints a picture, whether in shades of truth or fiction, that aims to sway opinion and secure allegiance. Now, we've got demoralization. It's the subtle understanding of one's spirit, the erosion wearing away at a mountainside. Demoralization sows seeds of doubt, questioning our abilities, worth, or even our fundamental beliefs. But fear not, because then comes counter-propaganda, riding in like a valiant knight to rescue truth from the clutches of deceit. It's a vigilant watchdog that aims to set the record straight, providing a beacon of clarity in a world clouded by misinformation. And then we get to behavior modification, influence and behavior modification. This objective is the maestro conducting the symphony of our choices, persuading you to embrace new behaviors or beliefs, often with consequences as unpredictable as a jazz improv. Yeah. Now, lastly, we've got dissent or division. It's the timeless strategy turning friends into frenemies, like a master chef adding a dash of spice. Creating dissent or division aims to pit us against each other, often exploiting existing fault lines in society. So, how do we travel these intellectual mazes? Okay? Well, it's all about becoming astute, critical thinkers. Question everything, especially if it seems too tempting or too absurd to be true. Remember, just because they claim Bigfoot's running for president doesn't mean you should cast your vote for a cryptid. My name's Tom Coffey. This is a Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. So that's a psyop. You know, often I've mentioned psyop and people don't know. They're like, what's that? Right? So that's what I wanted to bring up today. Just this idea of a psychological operation, and it's a real thing. And but there's 6 factors in it, right? So I want to go through each one, just give you a little definition and an example of each, okay? So disinformation. So we heard a lot about this over the lockdowns. We heard about disinformation, misinformation, all this other stuff. And frankly, the media is misusing this term, and I think intentionally. But disinformation is disseminating false or misleading information to deceive or confuse a target audience. So an example of this is fake news, right? It's spreading fake news about a political candidate to damage their reputation and influence in an election. That'd be an example, and we saw a lot of that. Okay. Next up, another psychological operation is propaganda. This is a real thing, right? We actually have propaganda. It's legal, too. It's legal. You might be interested to find out who re-legalized it, who signed that into law. Anyway, propaganda, that's using persuasive communication to promote a specific message, ideology, or narrative. So an example of this would be a government broadcasting messages to boost public support for, a war. Does that happen? Absolutely. It's happening today. Okay. Another psychological operation that we have is demoralization. Again, this is a real thing. And this is undermining the morale, confidence, and willpower of the target audience to weaken their resolve. Now, you would hope that they're trying to undermine the morale of, like, foreign enemies, but it also domestically as well. So often things will be done, for example, broadcasting negative reports about the state of an opposing military force to lower the soldiers' morale. So this happened a lot, like when we were in Iraq. There would be all these broadcasts over there telling the people that it was going much worse for Iraq than it actually was. And that's a way to just demoralize them, to just make them mentally defeated. Okay. Now, the 4th psychological operation, counter-propaganda. Again, that's just responding to enemy propaganda. But our intelligence agencies, our government, can actually can find enemies domestically. Yeah. So if there's a politician or someone that the deep state, does not care for, they can have counter-propaganda to counter anything that they're saying. Okay. But an example of this would be a country's government's correcting false claims made by an adversary in an international media, for example. And next we have influence and behavior modification. So that's encouraging individuals or groups to adopt certain attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors in line with the Psy-Ops objectives. So an example of this would be a marketing campaign convincing consumers to switch to a green lifestyle, right? By buying eco-friendly products. Yeah, that would be a Psy-Op by definition. And that would be the government using influence and behavior modification on its target, the American people. Okay. And lastly, creating dissent or division. This is the old divide and conquer, right? Exploiting existing divisions or creating new ones within a target population to weaken cohesion. So, for example, an example of this would be, if you remember back when there was like Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party movement, and all these people were working together, people on the right, people on the left, working together against the powerful. Can't have that. Can't have that. We need to create some dissent. We need to create division. And then all of a sudden you started seeing stories pop up in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, talking about white privilege and separating everybody by race, by gender, by sexual orientation, all those things. That all came up right after the Occupy movement got a little too big. Is that a Psy-Op? Well, I'll leave that for you to decide. But that is the big idea that I wanted to talk to you today about, just what's a psychological operation. And now that you have a little framework for it, perhaps you'll be able to see it. And you'll be able to discuss it with people now that you have a couple examples of what it is. Anyway, I got a good show for you today. Got a number of stories to get through. I think you're going to like it. And, of course, I'll end on some good news. And then the after show, I'll be going through all of the comments over on Rumble and on YouTube, even if there's not a whole lot of comments today. I don't know. Not a lot of comments today. So what are you going to do there? Well, I don't know. And I'm just checking checking what's the haps here. Okay. Cool. All right. So lastly, I wanted to announce there's a Republican debate tonight. I didn't even talk about this before, but there is a Republican debate tonight. I think it's 6 o'clock on the West Coast time. And I'm going to be doing a live stream right here on Rumble. So I won't be on YouTube, but I will be on Rumble. Come join me on Rumble. We can watch the debate together, and then during the commercials, I can make jokes about what I saw. But anyway, if you need someone to watch the debate with tonight, come join me. That'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, let's get to the news of the day. First up, we're going to talk about Target. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now, this story is local, but it's actually national. I'll get to that in a sec. You know, folks, seems Target's closing stores in Portland due to organized retail crime. I'm not saying it got bad here, but even the self-checkout machine has a panic button. Yeah. Anyway, Target is closing 3 stores in Portland, including the Galleria store downtown, due to ongoing theft and organized retail crime issues. The company is also closing 9 stores in total across 4 states for similar reasons. The closures will take place on October 21st. Target cited safety concerns for its employees and customers, as well as an unsustainable business performance as the main reason for these closures. Now, despite efforts to improve security and deter theft, the problem persisted. Shoplifting has become a significant issue in the Portland area, driven in part by addiction and drug use, and retailers have generally instructed staff not to confront shoplifters for liability reasons. So, I don't know about you, but who's ready to go to Target? I had to just stock up, get a couple new cameras. I know they don't sell lights, but I got plenty of lights, but I know. Go grab a new laptop, some new lights. They're not stopping people. Of course, don't do that. I'm not suggesting that. It is interesting, though, that 1/3 of the stores that are closing are in Portland. Yeah. In the entire country, 3 out of the 9 stores are in Portland, including stores that I used to go to. Now, if you remember earlier in this year, I think in May, I talked about going into Target and everything was locked up. I don't even know how they're taking this stuff. Because the Target by me, and I had a picture, it's on my Twitter, or X, whatever. But I had a picture of this acrylic box that had 3 socks in it. And I'm just like, who's carrying around this big acrylic box has to take it up to the register so you can get 3 pairs of socks out. I'm like, I'm done with Target. And I haven't been back since, and for other reasons. But now I don't even have the choice. They're all going away. Oh, well. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It includes San Francisco. And speaking of San Francisco, I got another one for you. Now, I just realized I ruined my joke. My big reveal. Haha. Anyway, just forget what I just said. You won't believe this one, folks. There's a politician in a certain city. We don't know which one. Let's call him Crackdown Casey, who's making all these tough on crime moves. Mandatory drug tests for people on public assistance. I know what you're thinking. A heartless, right-wing Republican, right? Gotcha. San Francisco. Their mayor, London Nicole Breed, a Democrat. San Francisco, where even Democrats are fed up with the mess. And they're going full Dirty Harry. So here's the story. San Francisco's mayor, London Breed, is proposing mandatory drug tests for recipients of public assistance due to the city's fentanyl epidemic. Those testing positive would be required to participate in substance abuse treatment. This move reflects frustration with rising drug overdoses and related crime. However, faces opposition from progressive leaders, what a surprise, and uncertainty about specifics like which drugs would be tested. They're really concerned, you know? Which drugs? Because if it's the drugs I use, I don't want those. I don't want those tested. So, it's so funny, the difference between a hating right-wing person and a progressive left-wing person is just a little bit of time, right? If anyone had suggested that, I know when people make that suggestion here in Portland, oh, we ought to, have mandatory drug tests for all these homeless, People, oh, you right-winger, oh, you bigot, oh, you hate the people, That's what they'll say. And then eventually it gets to the point where this woman of color Democrat, mayor of Portland, sounds exactly like every Republican did a couple years ago. You're a little late to the game, okay? But finally, I guess we're getting some common sense here. Eventually, it will get through to most people. Of course, there's some extreme progressives and people that are making money off of it, that are still against measures like that. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Let me know what you think about it. I'll check that out in the after show, in your comments. But we got emergencies everywhere, including Costa Rica. Costa Rica declared a state of emergency because of a surge in migrants crossing through the country, many heading to the United States. It's gotten so crazy, they're even considering rebranding themselves as Costa Rica, the ultimate adventure destination. I don't know. Did that dad joke hit? Rucka, like a backpack, rucksack. Whew. Anyway, it wouldn't be another week here on Coffee and Nuance if I didn't have at least one bad dad joke, right? So Costa Rica's president, Rodrigo Chavez, declared a state of emergency due to the surge in migrants heading to the United States. These migrants are from various countries, and in August, over 84,490 entered Costa Rica. That was a 55% increase from the previous month. The Darien Gap, which we've talked about a number of times, connecting Panama and Colombia, has seen a record number of migrants this year, with 20% being children and adolescents. Costa Rica is participating in a Biden administration initiative to establish safe mobility offices for migrants to apply for legal migration to the U.S. and other countries. So far, 38,000 individuals have registered for this initiative in Colombia, Costa Rica, and Guatemala, as of the end of last month. So, yeah, we talked about the Darien Gap. That would be the gap, the jungle, where there's no roads at all between Colombia and Panama. I always thought, the Pan American Freeway, that you could just get on and drive all the way to the Panama Canal. You can't do it. Or to South America, from the other side of the Panama Canal down to Colombia, you can't do it. It's jungle. They don't have a road. It's called the Darien Gap. Done a couple stories about it, and but I was thinking, just for ideas, if we really wanted to stop all of this illegal migration, right? Our border's pretty wide. We got a long, hard to defend border with Mexico. The thing is, at this point, anybody in Mexico that wanted to come to the U.S., they're already here. We're not getting a whole lot of people from Mexico. It's all from south of Mexico. Why don't we offer border security on the southern border of Mexico? It's not nearly as big. I think that the U.S. border just in the state of Arizona is bigger than the Mexican border, the southern border of Mexico. That might be a pretty efficient way. Help Mexico out and come up with a plan to defend that border as well. Because if these migrants can't get into Mexico, they can't get into the U.S. either. It's just an idea. It's just an idea. We need to come up with creative ideas. I actually heard this one. Tardvark had a little video on that, and I thought it was a good idea. I liked it. So just something to think about. But next up, we need some good news. Finally, we need some good news. So let's get to the good news. Folks, this story about this guy taking up metal detecting at 51 and stumbling upon a treasure from 1,500 years ago is truly remarkable. Goes to show, if you're feeling middle-aged and bored, you can always dig up a new hobby, and who knows, you might just strike gold. So Erland Bohr, a 51-year-old Norwegian, took up metal detecting as a hobby to get active. In a surprising turn of events, he made an extraordinary discovery on the island of Rennesøy, unearthing 9 pendants, 3 rings, and 10 gold pearls dating back to Norway's migration period of around 500 AD. This find is considered the gold find of the century and is highly unusual in Scandinavian context. Archaeologists speculate that it may have been hidden valuables or an offering to the gods during period of crisis. Bohr promptly reported the discovery like a good boy, and the artifacts will be preserved and displayed at the Archaeological Museum. Say that word. Yikes. This just goes to show he just took this up in his 50s, and he made this grand discovery. There's hope for all of us, right? Now, I was thinking about metal detecting. I was actually talking with a guy a couple weeks ago about metal detecting, and I came up with an idea. I'm just going to give it out there for free because I'm not going to do it. But, we have Roombas, right, that will vacuum. Yeah, we have things like that will mop floors. We even have lawnmowers now, robot lawnmowers that will go out and map out your yard and will cut your grass, mow the lawn. Couldn't someone come up with one of these devices for metal detecting? How cool would that be? You could take it to a park, let it do its thing, and it just like maps out the whole park, goes around it, maps it, and comes up, and and then alerts you to where there's metal. You know, you could have something like that, you know, a 3D, you know, four-wheel drive kind of thing in the forest, or maybe at the beach, rolling along the beach, and it could do metal detecting that way. I think there's something there. I think that's an idea for someone. Obviously, I don't have the know-how or the money to get behind something like that, but I just want to throw out that idea for anyone. Take it. Because I think that'd be really cool. Anyway, that's the good news of the day. We always got to have some good news. So, you know, if you're in your middle-aged and you want to start a new hobby, who knows? Maybe you can turn it into something awesome. I believe in you. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Stick around for the after show. I'll be going through all your comments. And remember, I will be live streaming the Republican debates today live on Rumble. So I'll probably start maybe 5 minutes early, not much more than that, 5 minutes early, and you'll be able to watch the live stream on Rumble with me if you want. If you need some company for the debates, stop on by. Anyway, hope you all have a beautiful day. I'll be back on Friday, Fact Check Friday. See you then. Peace. Wow, not a whole lot happening in the comments today. Rev68 with the American flag. What's up, Rev? Good to see you. Natasha checking in. Erie Ferry saying hi to the chat. She's working today. I assume it's a she. Natasha says, my ex majored in human factors at West Point. I got tired of the mind F. Thus the divorce. Well, that'll do it. Certainly don't want that. Wasn't it the repealing of the Munt Act that made it legal to use propaganda on U.S. citizens? I'm going to say I don't know. That sounds right, but I would verify that before I actually co-sign it. Doug says, hey, Tom, I found out that the powers that be will punish you for my comments, so I'll not be commenting on the YouTubes. I'll switch to Rumble if I need to comment. I would not be surprised. It sounds to me, Doug, like you are a marked man, like I am as well. It's interesting. At some point, I would like to hear what led you to that conclusion. I'd be interested to hear that. But thanks for sharing that. Someone else was talking about the Occupy Wall Street movement today. I think it was on Jimmy Dore, his substitute guy. Oh, yeah, Craig Pasta. I haven't seen anyone today, so I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised about that. He actually does a great job. I think his Twitter is YoPasta, something like that. But he does a great job filling in for Jimmy Dore. I think I'm very impressed. Very impressed. Tom, did you hear about the 328-foot tsunami that hit Greenland earlier this month? Paul Begley reported on it earlier today, but otherwise it's been memory hold. Have not heard about any tsunami hitting Greenland. So I'll check that out. Natasha says, my son wants to move to San Francisco. I'll have to send him this clip. Well, you know, we all ought to do what we want to do, right? As far as I know, we got one shot at this. And if you want to move to San Francisco, I say go for it. Now, before I moved anywhere, I would go check it out first. It doesn't mean that your impression is going to be accurate, because often when we go to a place, We have kind of a honeymoon feel at the beginning. It's, we just see everything cool and we don't see all the bad stuff. But yeah, go check it out. And if he wants to move to San Francisco, I say go for it. Go for it. Costly Ruckus. That's a good name. Then people will just fly to Mexico instead of walk. Some people might fly to Mexico, but a lot of these people don't have enough money to fly. I think Biden just legalized half 500,000 Venezuelans. Those people that are walking up from Venezuela, they don't have money to fly to Mexico. So I think it would definitely work on them. Not a hashtag, not all, Oh, that totally removes the exercise component. I thought you were pro-exercise. I am pro-exercise. I am indeed. Yes, she. So Erie Fairy is a she. That's what I had assumed, but you never want to assume, right? Makes an ass out of you. Exactly. Anyway. Anyway, sometimes jokes are just for myself, just to amuse myself. Anyway, I hope you can join me. I hope someone joins me tonight for the debate. That'll be fun. But otherwise, I hope you all are having an awesome day, and I'll be back on Friday, so I'll see you then. Until then, peace.